What is up, guys? My name is Josiah Valenzuela, and you're watching Woke Episode 1. I'm here with Josh and Jasmine. Jasmine and Josh, would you introduce yourselves?
Hey guys, my name is Joshua, and I'm actually a 20-year-old real estate agent here in Bakersfield, California. My company is actually with Cork and Global Living, but I am working with Home Expansion, a team inside of Cork and Global Living. Really enjoy what I do, you guys. And I'll go ahead and let Jasmine take it over.
Hey everybody, so thank you for the amazing introduction, Josiah and Josh. A little bit about myself. So as I mentioned, my name is Jasmine Cisneros. I am 24 years old, a financial broker based out of Beverly Hills, Los Angeles.
Alrighty, first off, how did you guys meet?
Wow. So, me and Jasmine, we actually met at a grand opening for a local marketing team here in Bakersfield. As many of you guys know, maybe the name Charisma sounds familiar. So we actually met at the grand opening, and so Jasmine, I actually met her husband Larry, and then he introduced me to Jasmine, and they actually, they invited me over to a networking event, which is really cool, and yeah.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what Josh said. So yeah, we did meet at a marketing event, and I really like Josh's enthusiasm. So we were actually had an event in Hidden Hills, and Josh said that he wanted to go there because Drake lived there. So he was down.
Did you meet Drake?
No, sadly, I didn't meet Drake, man.
He's gonna buy a house, huh?
Huh?
He's gonna buy a house?
Yeah, he's gonna buy a house for me one day.
Alright.
I'm gonna be his realtor one day.
Alrighty, so what made you choose the career path that you guys are taking right now, especially being so young, 20 and 24 years old? What came about?
I'll let Jasmine answer this one first.
I love that question. It's definitely a loaded question, but the reason why I decided to go into the financial services industry was because I have a degree, and I realized that when graduating with a degree during a pandemic wasn't the easiest time to find a job. But I thought that coming from a teen mom, that having a college degree would guarantee me financial success. After graduating with a degree, it was far from the truth. So I ended up realizing that the only way that I was really going to be able to create true wealth, but also make an impact in my city, was to be able to go into financial services and educate the families who needed to learn about different resources to be able to create true wealth and not depend on a college degree to be able to guarantee that wealth for them.
Josh?
Yeah, so piggybacking off of Jasmine, just kind of, having my family, my parents coming from, Mexico, being born there, just kind of definitely inspired me to, find my calling, and I realized that my calling isn't anything to do with school related things, right? So I've always been this person that's just like, no, I gotta go above and beyond, and I want to do more than that because that's just not for me, right? And it might be for everybody else. Don't get me wrong, right? But it just wasn't for me personally, right? So definitely, I've always had a thing like for real estate since I was 17 years old. Obviously, you have to be 18 to get licensed. Hold it off for a year, but I definitely got my license at age 19. And Yeah, I definitely love it. I mean, it's just like what other career, obviously with, going as a business owner 1099, can skip college, just get your license like 300 to 500 bucks and start making, 10,000, 15,000, however much money you want to make. Like there's nothing else in the world like that, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a good industry if you know what you're doing and if you have the drive and love for it. I definitely think you guys are doing something big. So on to the next question. Right now the market is crazy. The world is crazy. War, pandemic, and recession time. So is that affecting the real estate and financial part of everything?
So for real estate, there's a lot of media being pushed out there, and media is obviously meant for one thing, and it's just to create fear and stir up conflict, right? But mainly, fear, right? So whenever people, hear things on the media, it just creates this doubt in their head, and it just, like, hey, like, should we do this right now? Should we not? Right? And that's why it's very important for me as a, entrepreneur slash business owner. I definitely have to, keep my, my mind out of these things going on politically, worldly around, because it just affects your mindset, and it's just not a good place to be. I've been there before, and it just creates nothing but, fear, and causes relationships to end. I've had family relationships that ended in the past. But going back to your question about the real estate market, is we're seeing homes actually lasting longer on the market right now, and that's just due to the interest rate change of, obviously the Feds wanting to, battle inflation. They increased the interest rates, and that's why a lot of people are kind of scared right now. But I think a lot of, people need to reevaluate themselves and say, hey, instead of saying, hey, is the pricing good right now, or the house is going to drop? All that matters is that you're okay financially, and you're set to buy a home, and you can make these payments, and you have that additional 6 months of money reserved. So if anything were to fall through, you have it saved up. You have it to back you up. Yeah.
For sure. Do you have anything to say about that? I know it's more of a Josh question. You're more on the financial side.
No, 1,000%. So it definitely does have an effect in terms of which investments you have. So if you are more on the older side, whether you're going to retire in the next 5 to 10 years, having your money in the market during this type of, I guess, bear market that we're in right now. Wait, bear, bull. Yeah, we're in a bear, bear market. Let me just get it right. We are in a bear market, meaning that investments are negative 20%. So if you are going to retire in the next 5 to 10 years, that's something to consider, because you may not be alive long enough to be able to make that back plus more. So if losing money right now because you're going to retire in the near future is a concern to you, then speaking to a financial professional, being able to protect your assets as much as possible, which means putting them in less risky investments or removing them for the time being, might be your best option right now.
And also going back to, purchasing a home. When it comes to purchasing a home, a lot of people are kind of scared to, hey, I'm going to buy a home right now, and the prices are going to drop in a couple of years, right? So even if the homes were going to drop in a couple of years, just like investments, anything like that, everything goes down. But what goes down always comes back up, right? So I always want to make sure with my clients, when they're purchasing a home, that they're going to be there at least for more than 5 to 7 years. Because in that time frame, most likely things are going to be back to normal. Things are going to start rising again. They're not going to sell their home like in 2 to 3 years, right? Most likely when you buy a home, you're staying in there for 7+ more years, right? So what goes down is always going to come back up. So for anybody thinking that, they're going to lose money, they're not, because all they have to do is think, just like with investments, just think long term. You're going to be okay.
So definitely buy a home if you have the money and you're financially stable and you're willing to stick it out for that long.
Yeah.
What about selling your home?
So with selling your home, it's just right now we're seeing a lot of people that have pulled back. It just really depends on, because there's going to be people out there, that are selling their home to maybe upgrade, right? Probably not the smartest thing to do right now, because you're just increasing your lifestyle and your expenses, right? And you're selling a home and starting from scratch, basically, right? But selling their home for people that absolutely need to sell, there's still being sales like that. Divorce sales are one of them that we're seeing a lot. There's a lot of people that are relocating for jobs still every single day, right? So those are the people that absolutely need to sell. But to sell your home and, upgrade and increase your lifestyle and expenses isn't the smart thing to do.
Okay, now investments. Now I know we talked about this earlier about it, investments no matter what are good. What do you think the best investments for people to get the most money out of it in the future if they're willing to stick out the time?
I mean, any investment, if you're looking past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you're going to have a greater rate of return than keeping it at the bank. So don't let that discourage you. But I would definitely say if you're on the younger side and you're probably in school and you're looking to start somewhere, something very, very flexible would be a Roth IRA. There's no monthly contribution. So that's a really powerful tool to be able to take advantage of when you're working, first-time jobs, and you could afford. I would start saying look at anything that has a low fees, especially long term, but most importantly, make sure that if you're building wealth, that you're looking into tax-free accounts, especially if you want to live in California. Unless you guys want to live in like PA or something, then maybe they'd be a lot lower. But for building wealth in California, look for tax-free accounts long term. But really quick before we go on to the next topic, something that Josh and I can both agree on, whether we're talking about the housing market or the financial services, is inflation. So if you are looking to sell a home, get into a right, a new higher lifestyle, more income that you're gonna have to be bringing in, considering the cost of living is increasing despite whether you're buying a home or not. So increasing cash flow is the number one thing we can both recommend before thinking of buying a home, before thinking of getting into investments.
Exactly. Increasing cash flow, right? So when I said start from scratch, a lot of people, when they want to sell in order to buy, they're selling their property, right? So starting from scratch, instead of thinking, okay, let me first increase my, my earnings, my money right now, and let me go ahead and rent out this property instead of selling it, right? Because then you're having that just come in cash flow. And then that's gonna power and boost your potential to purchase your $1 million, $2 million dream home, because you have that coming in passively. But people are thinking, hey, let me sell this in order to buy something bigger, you know?
Yeah.
And what if they lose their job? What if they lose their job? It's gone, right?
Yep.
But you always have that rent coming in no matter what if you keep it. And that's why I always recommend keep your home and don't sell it.
Pay
Just
itself off in the
collect-
future.
Just like Monopoly. Just collect
Stack.
as you go. Collect as you go.
Okay. Now, what services do you guys offer at your business that you guys work with now?
I'll definitely let Jasmine go ahead and answer that one too.
That is definitely a loaded question, but anything from life insurances to annuities to Roth IRAs to mutual funds. We also work with real estate attorneys to be able to protect assets. So if you guys have a home or multiple properties, making sure that, creating legal documentation to be able to pass on your assets in your children's names to avoid probate. So it's something that I want to bring more awareness to, especially in the Latino community, because most of us believe that our assets will go to our children by default. And that does happen, but there's a long period in between that time. What else? Oh, and then something that we're just adding on. So bookkeeping and also working with business owners to make sure that they're in California compliance. So a new law came out yesterday that if you have a minimum of 5 employees, you have to offer them some sort of retirement account to remain in California state compliance. So that's huge. So now it's targeting small business owners.
For sure.
Last year was 25, now it's 5.
Oh, wow. That's a big decrease.
That is.
And that's a lot of money that's coming out of small businesses, just being small businesses. They're barely making it to keep their family afloat day by day. So,
I agree.
man.
Yeah, and same thing for me. When it comes to you asking me services that I offer, it's very loaded question, right? But for me, I would definitely say, what should you look for when you're looking for a real estate agent, right, or an advisor, right? An advisor. I would definitely say, don't just go with the first choice that you find somebody on Instagram and say, hey, I want to go with them, or hey, Miko, I got this real estate agent. Just use him because he's your brother, and and that's what I think a lot of people are doing right now is everybody's getting their license because they think it's really easy to get into this industry and start making a buttload of cash, right? When in reality, they don't know exactly what it takes to become a real estate agent. They just see the TikTok flaunting, they just see the Instagram post of luxury properties, and people are getting discouraged because of that. People think it's really easy and they're being misled, but it's really not that easy. So when it comes to finding a real estate agent, you have to definitely look for somebody that's, number one, honest with you, because there's a lot of people out there that are just chasing their bag.
And they'll get you later.
Yeah. Right? Especially when it comes to selling your home, right? There's a lot of agents out there that will negotiate their commission down, and if they're that simple to negotiate their commission down, how well do you think they're gonna fight for your money, to negotiate your money?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
For sure it does.
Right?
Yeah, you're gonna lose money.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get you.
Right? Because they just want to get paid,
Yep.
and they're gonna hide it from you, right?
And then in the end, it's too late.
And then in the end, it's too late.
You're asking all these questions. What do you mean my house is going down? Or
Mhm.
why are you getting that much? And it's too late. So,
Exactly. And I think a lot of agents promise their clients so many things, and I never promise my clients anything, right? I never say, I promise you I can get you $500,000 for your home. You just can't promise things like that.
especially right now.
You can't. You say, hey, I feel like your home is, we can get this.
Worth this much.
Worth this much.
But
Right?
Yep.
And then also, obviously having a, going back to honest, but having a truthful agent to you, right? And having an authentic agent, someone that's hardworking for you, someone that's gonna fight to get you the lowest home, price possible, and negotiate whatever it takes, right? Yesterday, I actually did my first negotiation, right? And we actually got my, my client, $6,000 less for his home. So it was a little challenging for me, but I did it.
And,
So
now they're saving money. Now
and
they
now
got to
they're
put that
saving money,
away
right?
for
Exactly.
moments.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So,
Artie, what's your contact information if somebody wants to reach out to you locally? And I don't know if you guys do out of Bakersfield or out of Kern County. So shameless plug.
yeah, so for me, my contact information is 661-421-5328. That is my phone number that you guys can reach me at. My Instagram, you could just search up Joshua Galvan and I will pop up. And you can contact me through email at joshua2asmyagent@gmail.com.
And would you like to add anything before we pass it over to Jasmine?
No, I would definitely just say interview your agents before making a decision to go use them. Because there's a lot of people, like I said, that would just go with the first agent and say, "Oh, you got your real estate license? I'll use you." And coming from a first-time home buyer, barely purchasing their home for the first time, they know nothing.
Yep.
Right? So that's why it's easy for agents to get their business because they know nothing, right? So imagine if the buyers actually had to pay the agents a commission, then there would be a lot more asking questions to the agent, right? Like there was on the selling side. That's why a lot of agents choose to be buyers agents only. They don't choose to list properties because it takes another skill level.
Too much work.
Too much more work, and a lot of agents are ready
Find
for that.
somebody who's willing to put in the work for you.
Exactly. Find somebody that's willing to put in the work for you, right? And I definitely see myself as putting in the work for you.
Okay.
So Jasmine?
I could recommend Joshua. Been a good friend of mine, and he's just doing the beyond and above, and I'm very proud of you, bro.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, my man. I see you doing your thing too, man.
You know it.
You're there, bro.
You're pushing me.
Bro, I
You got me
remember,
in the gym finally.
I remember when we were back in high school and we were doing YouTube videos together, man. And,
Pranks.
Everybody, I remember back then, a lot of people, would, bag on me for doing YouTube videos, all my old high school friends. And honestly, going back to that, I'm sorry to, obviously hold you off, Jasmine. But it's honestly very, eye-opening with the people I used to hang around with, the ones that would hold you down and say, no, this isn't possible. No, that's not possible. And I'm sure you've had people like that in your life
All the time.
that said, oh, this
Yeah.
isn't possible. This isn't possible. And I think having the right people around you to definitely motivate you, because when I was around them and I gave them my ideas, they would just bring me down. But when I'm around like Jasmine or when I'm around you or my mentor, they tell me, bro, you got to think bigger than that.
Do it.
You got to think bigger than that. That's too small. You got to think bigger than that. So I think really have the people that you're around is definitely a big motivation, and happiness drives everything. So
Pick the right people.
definitely have to be happy. Yeah.
1,000%. So I definitely love that, Josh. And just to share my information really quick before we go. So my Instagram is jasmine.finance. And my phone number is 661-474-7187. And I'm actually licensed. We can be able to help anybody in all 50 states. So, but if you're thinking of reaching out, a question I would ask myself is, what am I trying to achieve? But not really being tied to a specific account, because most people would come in, this is what I want. But then after reevaluating their financial goals and thinking the next 30 years, maybe that account right now wouldn't make the most sense. So just coming in open-minded and just knowing that we're going to be able to put you in a better financial position at all
That's
times.
amazing. Keep your options open.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys.
1,000%.
Oh,
That's my
a million
saying.
Yeah,
%.
a million, no, 100%.
100%. Why not 1,000?
Yeah. I don't know. Jasmine just likes 100.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys for coming and sharing this lovely information. Hopefully some people reach out to you, and I appreciate you guys being my first people on this podcast. I've been wanting to get it going for a while, and this guy came to mind, and then he said, talk to Jasmine, so I was like, let's do it. Alrighty, guys, thank you for joining us. This is Woke episode part 1. Stay tuned for more episodes, and we'll see you guys in the future.